At the morning stand-up meeting, my team lead rolled his eyes and said, "Just let her take notes, that's about as much as she can handle without crying." I held back tears as everyone chuckled, pretending not to notice. Instead of speaking up, I stayed late every night gathering proof of how I carried the entire project. When corporate audited our work, he couldn't explain why my name was on every major milestone. But his wasn't. I never thought I'd be the type to post something like this, but after everything that's happened, I think I just need to write it down. Maybe someone out there will understand. So, I work for a logistics tech company in Dayton, Ohio. We're not huge, but we have some decent clients and real money behind us. I've been in software for about 8 years. I'm not flashy, not the loudest in the room. I just do my job, keep my head down, and make sure things get done right. The problem started when we got assigned a full system rebuild for one of our bigger clients. It was going to be a monster project. Rewriting old code, restructuring the database, and redesigning the user interface. It was the kind of project that could make your career, or break it. Our team lead was a guy named Brian. Brian was the kind of manager who didn't really do anything but talk. He was always in someone's office, bragging about how many hours he put in, how much pressure he was under. But if you looked closely, he wasn't actually contributing. He didn't write code. He didn't test. He didn't design anything. He just delegated, then took credit for everything. From day one, Brian treated me like I was some intern who just wandered in. I've been there longer than he has. But he never asked for my input, constantly interrupted me in meetings, and once, when I made a comment about a bug, he told me to leave the tech stuff to the engineers. I am an engineer. The real breaking point happened on a Wednesday during our stand-up meeting. There were about 8 of us in the room, devs, QA, one UI designer, and Brian. We were going around giving updates. I was about to speak when Brian cut in and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Just let her take notes, that's about as much as she can handle without crying." He smiled like it was a joke. A few guys chuckled. I sat there, trying not to show anything. My eyes burned, but I didn't let the tears come. I just wrote something down in my notebook and stayed quiet. After that, I made a choice. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to run to HR. I wasn't even going to defend myself. I was going to beat him at his own game. Quietly. I started staying late. Not every night at first, but enough that it became a pattern. Everyone else would leave around 5 or 6. I'd stay until 8 or 9. I wasn't doing extra work, I was documenting. Every single thing I contributed to the project went into my personal logs. Screenshots. Commits. Change requests. Meeting notes. Emails. Slack messages. Everything. I started tagging my work in a way that could be tracked back to me. And not just in our system. I made private backups too. I wasn't going to let Brian claim a single line of my work. The more I did this, the more I realized how little Brian actually did. He talked a lot, made big PowerPoint decks, and sent vague strategy emails. But when it came to actual deliverables, he had almost nothing. Fast forward a few months. The project launched. On time. Barely. We pulled some long nights near the end, but it worked. The client was happy. Our company was happy. And Brian? He took the stage like it was the Super Bowl. He did this whole presentation to upper management talking about his leadership, his approach, his guidance. He didn't mention any of us by name. Not once. I sat in the back of the room watching. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. That night, I didn't sleep. I just kept looking through everything I had, every proof, every log, every bit of it tied to me. 3 weeks later, corporate IT sent out a notice. They were starting internal audits on major projects as part of a new accountability push. Nothing suspicious, they said. Just routine. Brian started sweating immediately. He called a few of us into a side meeting and said stuff like, "Hey, just remember, we're all a team. Let's keep our messaging consistent if they reach out." He didn't say it directly, but he was clearly trying to cover his ass. He even started asking me for documentation, things I knew he should have had if he actually did the work. "Hey, do you have that version history from the early UI sprint? Do you remember which tests we ran on the optimization scripts?" I just said, "Check the logs." When the audit team contacted me, I handed over everything. Not with an attitude, not with any editorial comments. Just clear, complete records. I didn't need to say anything. The work spoke for itself. Then came the email to both of us. After reviewing contributions, we noticed a discrepancy in recorded leadership and task execution. "Please clarify your roles." Brian asked for a meeting the next day. Just him and me. He tried to spin it. "Look, we both know how this works. Sometimes leaders don't get their hands dirty, but that doesn't mean they're not essential. Let's just get on the same page here, alright?" I stared at him. "You told everyone I could barely take notes. So, explain the project without my notes." He blinked. "I didn't mean that. It was a joke. You know how teams are. People joke." I got up and left. After that meeting, Brian stopped talking to me directly. He still showed up at work like nothing was wrong, but I could feel the shift. He kept his door closed more. Started pulling in other team members for one-on-ones. I figured he was fishing, trying to get someone to vouch for him or twist the narrative before the audit wrapped up. But here's the thing, the team saw what happened. They didn't say much in the moment, but they knew. I wasn't the only one Brian talked down to. I wasn't the only one he dismissed or took credit from. I was just the one who had receipts. Then something strange happened. A guy from another team, Mark, from the infrastructure side, messaged me one evening. "Hey, not sure if it matters, but Brian's been asking around for people to write informal summaries of their work on the overhaul. Said it's for documentation." He sent me a screenshot. Brian had written, "Make sure to keep it general, focus on overall team effort, not individual names. We want to show unity." That's when I realized he was panicking. The audit had him cornered, and now he was trying to muddy the waters. Make it look like no one person led the project, like it was just some team soup with him stirring the pot. I didn't respond to Mark. I didn't have to. A few days later, I was called into a video meeting with a woman from corporate compliance. Her name was Janice. She didn't smile much. She thanked me for my documentation and said they had a few follow-up questions. But then she asked something I didn't expect. "Did Brian ever discourage you from speaking up in meetings?" I froze. I hadn't mentioned the note-taking comment. I hadn't included that in the documentation. It wasn't relevant to the deliverables, or so I thought. I nodded. "Yes. More than once." She asked, "Did he ever make comments about your ability to lead or contribute?" I looked down for a second. "He said I should stick to taking notes. Because I'd cry otherwise." There was silence on her end. She wrote something down, then said, "Thank you. That matches what we've heard." Matches? Turns out, I wasn't the only one Brian had insulted. Another woman on a different project came forward after hearing about the audit. She didn't have documentation like I did, but she gave a recorded statement. Then another employee, someone in QA, said Brian used to throw out work done by junior staff, all women, and pass it off as incomplete, just so he could rewrite it and put his name on it. The audit expanded. Suddenly, this wasn't just about our project. It was about Brian's pattern. That's when the company lawyers got involved. Brian disappeared from the office for a full week. Nobody knew where he was. His name vanished from the team directory overnight. No goodbye email. No announcement. His office sat empty. We were told nothing, just a quick email from HR saying he was on leave. But then one of the interns let it slip that Brian's badge had been deactivated. That same intern said his access to our repo was removed in the middle of the night. And just like that, he was gone. But it didn't end there. 3 days later, I got an email. Not from HR. Not from my manager. From the VP of Engineering himself. He wanted to schedule a meeting. The email from the VP of Engineering came late at night. I stared at it for a full minute before I even opened it. Subject line was just, "Quick chat?" His name was Don. He was based out of the Chicago office and rarely visited Dayton. I'd only seen him once, during an all-hands about 2 years ago. He was known for being direct. No fluff. No small talk. The meeting was scheduled for the next day, 10 a.m., via Zoom. When the call started, Don didn't waste time. "I've reviewed your work. All of it." The audit team was impressed. "I'm impressed." I nodded, staying quiet. "You built the backbone of that overhaul. You didn't just code, you directed it. Design, testing, deployment. You were the architect." It wasn't a question. He already knew. "Why didn't you come forward earlier?" he asked. I paused. Then I said, "Because people like Brian usually win. I just wanted the work to speak for itself." He leaned back and gave a half smile. "Well, it did. Loud and clear." Then came the twist. "I want to offer you a new role. Not just a promotion. A new position. Leading a cross-office engineering task force for future system rebuilds. Higher pay. Team building authority. Direct reporting to the VP level. But there was one condition. You'd be based in Chicago. Full relocation. 6 months to transition. You'd have your own team." My stomach dropped. I had lived in Dayton my whole life. My mom was in assisted care nearby. My sister and I shared responsibilities. I couldn't just leave. I told Don I needed time. He nodded. "Take a week. But don't wait too long. We need someone who knows how to get things done. And knows when to stay silent, and when to speak up." After the call ended, I sat at my desk staring at the screen. That's when another message popped up. This one from Marcus, the new acting team lead since Brian disappeared. "Hey, we just found something weird in the old project archive. Mind taking a look?" I clicked the link he sent. And that's when I saw it. Buried deep in the version history, Brian had uploaded a folder titled Final Presentation Materials, Internal. Hidden inside was a document labeled Projected Outcomes. It wasn't just the strategy notes we'd seen before. This one had a whole section about redirecting individual credit toward team leadership, and a bizarre subsection planning out likely threats to project narrative, with initials next to names. Mine was at the top. Risk, my name, tendency to seek validation through output. Will respond to exclusion with silence, not confrontation. Use this. I stared at that line until my hands started shaking. He didn't just dismiss me. He planned it. He studied how I worked, figured I wouldn't fight back, and used it against me, until the audit ruined him. I messaged Marcus, "Send this to legal. Now." The moment Marcus sent the file to legal, everything changed. I wasn't angry anymore. I was furious. Brian hadn't just underestimated me. He'd profiled me like I was a bug to work around. Like my quiet was weakness, not a choice. He took every part of who I was, my silence, my patience, my focus, and used it to erase me. I wanted him to feel it. The next morning, I called Dawn. "I'll take the job. But I want something first." He didn't interrupt. Just waited. "I want the next company-wide meeting to include a formal postmortem on the overhaul project. And I want to lead it." He hesitated. It'll look like we're taking sides, he said. You already did, I replied. I just want it documented. He agreed. 2 weeks later, I stood in front of a camera in our conference room. Half the company was on the call. I walked through every stage of the project. Showed the logs. The code. The UI drafts. All tied to specific team members, and me. I didn't say Brian's name. I didn't have to. People knew. But the real hit came a few days later. After legal finished going through the projected outcomes file, they uncovered more emails Brian sent to a buddy in another office. Emails where he talked about how easy it was to redirect credit and how soft personalities make great fall guys. HR couldn't protect him anymore. Not with that kind of intent. They voided his exit package. No NDA. No payout. Then they reported him to a local business ethics board and filed a notice with the Association of Professional Engineers. That was the real blow. Without that license, he's done in tech leadership. No company with a real compliance team will touch him again. I didn't celebrate. I just went home, packed a small bag, and drove to see my mom. Sat beside her bed and held her hand. You always said to work hard and wait for the right moment, I told her. Well, Mom, it finally came. 6 months later, I was in Chicago, in a new office with a new team. I still had her picture on my desk. I still didn't say much in meetings unless I had to. But when I did, people listened. Brian tried to message me once. Just a short email, hope you're happy. I didn't respond. But I read it twice. Because yes, I was. Not because I ruined him. But because I didn't let him ruin me. I took notes. And then I wrote the whole damn story.